Hello, guys.
Well, hello.
Hey,
My name's Mel.
Hi, Mel. I'm Larry. Talk to you on the phone.
Right.
And this is Neil.
Hi, Mel. How you doing? Glad to meet you.
Great.
We're just sitting here doing some record verification before we get started on this, as we talked to you on the phone.
That's one of the steps of the preliminary survey, so
Okay.
great. From our conversation on the phone, we're replacing a unit and we're also putting in a new office.
Right. We're now, Neil and I were wondering about putting in a new office. Why do you need to know whether it's new or replacement?
Well, the placement of the equipment and the blocks has to be arranged through engineering.
Oh,
They give
okay.
you a specific
All right.
place to put it, so that's the reason for that.
Okay.
This unit here, is this the main unit we were talking about?
Right.
Yeah,
Over the
this is
phone?
main unit.
How many inputs do we have on this one?
We come up with 75 inputs on this one.
Hey, that's needed to know because of the relay cards. There are 50 inputs per card, so we'll order 2 cards with this unit.
Okay.
I see from this, we have a tie cable going from here over to the mainframe. We'll probably try to use the 66 blocks on this conversion.
Okay.
Why would we want to use the 66 blocks versus the spin down?
Well, they're a little faster and easier to use rather than the spin down.
Okay.
The voltage on this one, is this powered by 48 volts?
Right. We talked about that on the phone. This has got the 48, and you said we could use the same 48 volts on the new machine.
Is it fused at 1 1/3 amp?
Yeah, we checked with the COT, and they showed us where the fuses were, and we made sure that they are all fused and fused with the 1 1/3 amp fuse.
That's great. That's great. The telephone number?
We're going to keep the same phone number.
Great. The grounding of the system?
Okay. The grounding goes back to the central office ground.
CO ground?
Mhm.
Great. Your dryers in this office, are they monitored through another system, or are they?
Yeah, they're right now monitored through the Dantel system.
Right. That'll be one of the things we do in this cutover. We'll change those over into the 289, so it'll all be
Oh, good.
one place for your
So
alarms.
we'll be able to monitor everything right through the same unit.
Exactly.
Oh, great.
Exactly.
Great.
The cables here, we have 3 cables that we've got, and the configuration of that block is 108 pairs, so we'll have to add another cable into it to keep it in groups of 25.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now, will these Amphenol cables, will they come off of this block and go right onto the 66 blocks that we're putting in?
There's no problem there. You can use gender changers, and they'll adapt and
Okay,
fit right
great.
into the system.
Great.
We have, when the parts get here, they'll be taking inventory of the parts to make sure that we've got all the parts to
Okay.
do. They'll be coming in a few weeks. And you'll have to contact your SAT.
Oh, don't call you. Call him first. Okay.
That'll be the coordination
All
of the
All right,
cut.
We can do
Great.
that.
If you've got time today, we can try to do the pre-survey on that satellite office.
Sure, that would be
Good.
great.
Yeah.
You want to do it now?
Sure, we've got the
Great.
time.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
okay.
Well, this just about finishes the survey for the satellite. This must be the block.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We're going to remove that, and we're going to put a twist-down block in its place. To do this, we'll just disconnect this one and move it over to the side, install a new one in the same location, and swing the jumpers.
Good, great.
I think we're about done with this, guys.
Good.
You guys say all of the parts arrived okay?
Right, we opened the box, taken the inventory, and everything's here.
Great.
Mel, is there any reason why we're replacing the satellite unit first?
You have to replace the satellites first because they're controlled by a mother unit. Once you've made the conversion to the 289, they become their individual offices, and that problem is gone.
Once we remove this, Mel, what are we supposed to do with it?
I'd put it in safe storage, take care of it, because you may be able to use it for spare parts. And then it has to be removed from the inventory. There's account codes that have to be done, and your supervisor should be able to help you with that.
Good.
Is there anything special about removing this unit then?
No, we've turned the power off, and we disconnect the cables and take it down.
Okay, great.
Well, here's the mini.
Great.
Okay, Mel, where do we start?
Well, we got to unpack it.
Okay.
This is the manual that comes with it for future reference. It also helps you with the installation.
All right, great.
Okay, what are these for, Mel?
Those are the mounting brackets that come with it. This is mounted in frames that usually run between 19 and 23 inches. There's 3 settings on the side that you can see for centering it up in the vertical so it doesn't get hit by the ladders or so forth.
Good.
Okay. Okay, it says on the top here that we should remove the packing foam. Should we go ahead and do that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Mel, there's cards already in here.
Right, the Mini comes pre-assembled, and that styrofoam's in there to keep the cards from shaking loose in the mail. Well, let's get ready to put the brackets on here and mount this thing.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. How do we hook this power up, Mel?
Well, we'll swing this out here, and this little plug, we can hook the power up to that, plus the ground goes into the unit.
Okay.
You make sure you put the red lead on this one is the negative 48, and that goes in the middle. And the battery return goes on the far right-hand side of that plug. The chassis ground goes in the far left-hand side of the plug. And it plugs into the board, the top board. Okay, we've got the power hooked up now.
Okay, how do we hook up the phone line?
Well, here's the dial tone, and it plugs in on the second card right below the power plug. The next step would be to hook up the Infinal connector that goes out to the main frame where the block is. That goes right there. Now we ought to be able to turn this thing around. We'll tie all the stuff up later to neaten it up a little bit.
Hey, Mel, what are these here?
Those are alarms for the CO in case this unit fails. Generally, we leave them in the disabled because they're monitored by our SAT people in Denver. Well, guys, the only thing left on this satellite conversion is to transfer the jumpers off of the old block onto the new block.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you do get binding post 1 on binding post 1 of this block. And that one goes on binding post 2.
Can we go ahead and turn it on?
We should be able to. It's powered and everything. Looks fine.
Okay. Put the lid on.
Put the lid on and we're done.
Mel, this main unit installed just as easy as the Mini unit.
They are both pretty easy. I'm glad you had no trouble with it.
Well, no cards in this one, Mel.
Right, they're mailed separately, safety and handling. That's the next step, is we're going to put the cards in.
Good.
The first card will be the controller card. It goes in the first slot.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to align the pins in the back of these cards so they go in right.
What is this card used for, Mel?
That's where the communication takes place, is where your phone plugs into that card. The next card to go in will be the utility card. It's the power card.
Okay, there's 3 auxiliary slots here. Which one do I put this in?
Put it in the middle one because it will leave a little bit of space between the cards, because there's some clips in there that kind of get in the way sometimes. The next card to go in will be the first dedicated relay card. It'll go in the first slot.
Okay, what's this one for?
This is one of your 2 cards that we're putting in this machine, each of them having 50 contact points. The next will be the second relay card, and it goes in right next to it. That is for 51 to 100. Now that all of the cards are installed, the next step is to hook up the Infinal cables between the 66 block and the dedicated relay cards. This being 1 to 25, it will terminate on the top port of the first card. This being 26 to 50, it will terminate on the bottom port of the first card. This will be 51 to 75, which will terminate on the top port of the second card. This being 76 to 100, it will terminate on the bottom port of the second card. Now that we've installed the Infinol cables and the power is hooked up, the phone line is hooked up to it, we should be able to turn the power on.
Okay.
Great, the lights come on. This looks like another completed installation of a 289.
All right.
Good.
Now that we've completed the installation of the 289, do you have any questions about it?
Yeah, what if we don't have any red lights come on the cars?
There's a possibility you have a blown fuse, or you might have the power to the plug on the back of it reversed.
Okay.
I would check that with a meter, KS meter, to make sure that you do have the hot lead where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
How do we know if we have a bad card?
Chances are you'll blow a fuse. When you try to eliminate the bad card, you have to start with one card in the machine, turning the machine back on to see if it blows the fuse. If it doesn't, you proceed on through your cards until possibly finding the bad card.
Okay, what if we don't have any phone answer, like the phone doesn't answer?
I'd check the end of your input going into the machine to see if you have dial tone for one, and if you don't, then you probably have to go back to your office equipment. If it is reaching the machine, then chances are you've got a bad controller card.
Sounds like there's not much that can go wrong with this.
It is a very reliable machine.
Mel, I sure appreciate all your help, and I was glad meeting you. Thanks a lot.
It was good to meet you, Mel.
If you do run into any problem, you can give me a call in the future.
Good.
Ron, I'd like you to meet Dan Garrison. He's one of the air pressure techs in Boise. Dan, this is Ron Wilcox. He's a service assurance tech here in Littleton.
Dan, it's nice to meet you.
Same here.
So what brings you this way?
Well, we were doing a conversion this morning that Neil and Larry were doing. We just come
Yes.
down to see how it went.
That's great. I just finished the conversion, as a matter of fact, and I'm in the CPAM's diagnostics right now. Would you like to see how that works, Dan?
You bet.
Okay, what I've got on the screen right now is real-time reading. Over here we have the device number. We have the ohms on this field. And over here we have the pressure, which is at 8.5 pounds of pressure.
Is that a new real-time reading for every line?
Yes, each time that puts a new line on there, the 289 has gone out, taken a measurement, and come back and given it to us. Let's see about a couple other things that we've got here. I'll go ahead and take us out of this. Do you have a device that's open that I can take a look at?
Why don't you try 29?
29, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go back out to the main menu, and we're going to get into number 5, which is a capacitance test. Once we get into that, we'll pull up number 29. Type that in like that. Okay, it's coming up right now. As you notice across, it's going to give you the device number again, or the access number. It's going to give us the picofarads. Tell it to us in thousands of feet in location. This is out from the central office at 5,931 feet. Let's go ahead and break out of this. How about shorts? Do you have one that's short that we can take a look at?
46.
Okay. As soon as we're out of this, we'll take a look at it. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the main menu, and we're going to get into the leakage test. This is number 8. We'll type that in. Can I have that device number again? Did you say 46?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll pull this up. This is going to show us tip to ground, ring to ground, and tip to ring. And our short, of course, will end up under tip to ring. As you can see, we've got 100 megs when we're going to ground, but under the tip to ring, we have 5,130 ohms short. Let's go try something else. Another interesting capacity with this is that we can look at AC testing and DC testing. Let's look at one of the ones that we had up a minute ago and see what it's got on it. We'll look at the DC to see if it's got any. And when we do, it's going to give you 2 readings of voltage. It's going to show you tip to ground and ring to ground. This has 1.6 volts of AC on it. If this was a DC reading, it would show you the exact same thing. One other item that I'd like to show you here is that we can pull up specific device information so that you can see that while you're working on your device if you had a question, where it was, the manhole, or something like that. Here's all of your information coming up right now.
It has a location and everything, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and a place for remarks on it, and then all of your readings from past to present.
Ron, I want to thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. Dan, I hope you got something out of this. It was really nice meeting you.
Same here.